Hey, what's up guys, and yes, it's been quite the ride. Not so long, but it's been amazing. Welcome to the final episode of What If Naruto. What if Naruto was the god of space, time and will, guys? Yes, it's been quite amazing if I must say myself. Also, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice and you've seen this coming to an end, don't worry because I post What If on a regular basis, and you will be getting new What If very soon. And also guys, if you're back and you know me as well, new series out on Anime King 3, What If Naruto was a perfect experimenter? So go ahead and enjoy that guys. And also guys, over on Anime King, I post a brand new series as well. What if Godlike Naruto was awakened by Kushina? So go ahead and enjoy that guys. And also, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button. Yes, I indeed have 3 channels that I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Making family. And thank you guys. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we just jump right into this final episode guys? Let's get right into it. So the last time we left off, as Naruto sat in the council chambers, he spoke to the council members about the changes that he was going to make to Konoha, and he also implemented the changes. It seems like he was preparing for something, given the things that he was changing up. A lot of things were being changed and there were being protective barriers around the village. So something was coming, it seems. As Homura and Kaharu, wondering what the hell he was talking about, the both of them decided to get loud, saying that he doesn't have the right to try and take over the village, as Naruto told them that their help would no longer be required. In actuality, he got rid of them, as everyone watching in shock. But Naruto was not taking in talk from anyone. Once that was over with, Jiraiya was brought to the chambers as Naruto told him to explain about the prophecy and everything. As he then heard about the toads, so he took them all to Mount Miyaboku in a flash, surprising Jiraiya and the others that he just teleported here. As he arrived there, he brought back Minato and Kushina using Edo Tensei. Naruto was angered when he heard about the prophecy and that his father decided to go with his sisters instead of thinking about him, while all along he was a prophecy. The great elder Toad bowed his head to Naruto, saying that he was a chosen one and in return, Naruto decided to make Minato suffer as he sent him to a dimension where he will be suffer for millennia. But once he came back, well, he'll be a monster that was bent on serving him. He then turned his sights towards Kushina as she dropped to her knees, knowing that she was going to suffer as well. But Naruto decided to take her as his own, as long as she submitted herself to him. She did that without hesitation. So with that, Naruto brought her back with him, leaving the toads as he gave them specific information. He made his way back. His sisters, once sisters, were rather angry when they saw him as they heard about everything, especially what happened to their parents. It was then that Kushina came in. They were surprised, but they were happy. But their father was not coming back, as Minato was gone. Yes, he wouldn't be coming back. The girls were downtrodden by that, but their mother was here with them, as they hugged their mother rather happily. Some time passed as Kenshin, Kushina and the others, including Naruto, made their way towards Uza. As Naruto let the water split and they made their way, the place that was sealed off they were able to enter. Naruto found lots of scrolls, things that belonged to those monks in the past, very powerful items. As he went through the archives, when he found the blade that he was looking for, when his hand made contact with it, he felt the power inside of the blade, one of the holy weapons. once wielded by someone of his stature, the power inside exploded out in an incredible degree. It was beyond powerful. So with that, they made their way back. The lands were being attacked by an army of stone warriors. As Naruto made his way, where he protected Shin, the girl was rather ruthless about the life of her comrades. As Naruto noticed, it was then that her subordinate spoke to him, explaining why that was the reason. When they finally arrived to stop Moro, she went in there by herself, only for her to be teleported out once she got in danger. She saw Naruto. Moro exploded out with all his glory. As Naruto called him what he really was, he was just a demon that was banished and came on the human plane to wreak havoc and gain followers. But the priestess ended up sealing him away. Him and Naruto fought as they shook the place of their battle, but Naruto was just too overwhelming strong as he destroyed him to nothingness. Later that night, Shin was at awe with Naruto's power. As the both of them ended up going to bed with each other, she woke up in a frenzy as she told him about the black cloaks and the red clouds. As Naruto knew exactly who she was talking about, it was time that the Akatsuki come to their demise once and for all. So yeah guys, basically that's what I thought. If you guys can switch across the playstore of yourself, and yeah, what do you say we just jump right into this final episode? I hope you enjoy, guys. Naruto sat in the Hokage's office, a cigar in his mouth. All the Kages and daimyos were in front of him, having arrived after the incident with the stone army. As Naruto, after waking up with Shin and having a wonderful time, he made his way back to the village, as Shin's predictions were never wrong. Well, in certain cases, especially when it comes to him, if she was to see him die or anything like that. But the thing was, the Akatsuki was coming, and that excited Naruto. He found it rather amusing that they thought that they could actually fight him. But he wondered what she meant by the elements. He wondered if it was Kakuzu. He was snapping his thoughts as each person finished their report. Alright, he said. But a Jonin suddenly rushed inside as he bowed his head. Naruto Dano, Sensor has picked up 10 Kage level shinobis signatures north of the village near the Valley of the End. Naruto smirked. Perfect, he says. He rose from his seat. As he opened the window and made his way, the former Jinjulkis and Kages followed him. They want to see this fight that he informed them about. Time skip. Valley of the End. The legendary spot where Hoshirama Senju, the first Hokage, defeated Madara Uchiha. It was a scar on the earth. It was a result of their battle, as there was a massive waterfall between the two statues. This waterfall stood between the border of the fire and the Sound Country. On top of Hoshirama's head were 14 people, as they all were wearing the black cloaks. They were the Akatsuki, the famous group composed of all excellent ninjas. Their purpose: capture all the Biju, conquer the world for their own means. However, their plans were stopped by one man, Uzumaki Naruto. He had captured all the Biju, gained immense power, and he started to play God. Pain, the leader of the Akatsuki, will have none of that. So for the first time out of the hideouts, in a long while, he gathered all of them to come to bring down Naruto and the rest of the Biju, to gather them. They didn't wait long though. They knew that he would come. Naruto, along with the Jinjulkis and the Kages, appeared on top of Hoshirama's statue. He had his arms crossed, a smirk on his face, as he analyzed each and every member of the Akatsuki. He grinned when he noticed Pain Rinnegan, thinking that this might be more amusing than he thought. He looked to the group behind him. Do not interfere, he said. As they all nodded, he then turned his head back to the Akatsuki. So who's going first in this little event that we have created, said Naruto, as he watched the members with a keen eye. Unless you want to come to me combined. He leaped down and landed on the water. Pain turned to Saucer and Deidara, as both men leaped down as well. As Naruto could feel life force inside of Saucer, that meant the outside was a shell of a puppet. Deidara, slanted blue eyes, long blonde hair that was tied up in a ponytail. So, said Naruto, which one of you wish to die first? Deidara sent many clay bats his way as they surrounded Naruto. Guts! Boom! An explosion went off, and Deidara chuckled. Looks like he wasn't so tough after all. Deidara cried out the next second as Naruto's feet exploded the scope on his left eye that was covered by his bang. The feet planted in his face so roughly that his body was thrown with 10 times the force of a normal throw. He smashed into the wall. As Naruto landed, he bent back as a tail whipped over his head. As he tilted his head while leaning back so far, before he grabbed the tail, Sasori opened his mouth as hundreds of senbons flew out of it. As Naruto pulled back and ripped off the tail, he used the tail and slapped away each and every one of the senbons, before he crushed it in his hand and tossed it to the side. He was about to attack Sasori until he glanced behind him as his back exploded. Deidara, who had pulled himself out of the wall, was releasing clay from his palms. Deidara formed a massive clay dragon as he spat orbs. Naruto ignored the explosions as his clothing was getting singed. As Naruto bent his legs before he leaped so high he passed the dragon. He then thrust his hand out as a panther of black lightning shot forward. Deidara cursed as he had to jump off, his dragon getting swallowed by the attack. Damn it, he can use black lightning? Sasori fire poisoned the senbon from his gauntlet, seeing that Naruto's back was turned. But they simply bounced off Naruto, shocking Sasori. Then why did he block with my tail in the first place? As Naruto appeared above his head and brought down his foot, the puppet exploded. As the real Sasori leaped out, it was then that two arms wrapped around Naruto. As it started to glow and explode, Deidara stood there, as his clone just exploded upon him. There is no way that he can come slice! His eyes went wide as his arm fell. He turned at Naruto, who stood there. His clothing was burned, but there was not even a mark on him. Deidara jumped back, clutching his stump, as he started to curse at the blonde. Deidara started to eat the clay in his own mouth, forming a doll of himself. The doll exploded right upon Naruto, releasing a cloud. As Naruto narrowed his gaze towards the cloud, he then outstretched his palm. Energy beam, he said. A large black beam made contact with the smoke, as the whole thing imploded upon itself. The real Deidara looked on in shock. How? He cried out as Naruto appeared in front of him and sliced his other arm off before kicking him right in the chest as he crashed into the stone wall once again. Naruto then turned his head as he looked towards the real Sasori. He had red hair and mousy brown eyes. Sasori knew that this was not time to play around as he tore off his cloak, revealing his body underneath. I must thank you. It's been a long time since I used myself, said Sasori. You fool. You became a puppet, said Deidara, as he was standing there, armless. Of course. I am no art. I am eternal. Fool. Art isn't eternal. Art is a blast, an explosion. He's right, said Naruto. Deidara looked towards him. Yes, you of course, said Naruto. In my opinion, art is a blast that will be remembered for all eternity. As he extended both hands, energy spear. As Naruto then turned and threw them, one of the spears slammed into Deidara's stomach. The blonde was sent sailing as Sasori was also hit, but it simply darkened the wood. Sasori opened his arms. Two canisters came out as he sprayed flames towards Naruto. As Naruto moved and appeared behind him and swinged his leg, Sasori jumped but Naruto reached out, as he tore off the lower half of Sasori's leg with nothing but force. Sasori's stomach opened in mid-air as a metal cord shot out towards Naruto's face. Naruto caught it and ripped it off before he slammed it into Sasori's chest. Two pipes came from Sasori's hips as they started to spin like a buzzsaw. As Naruto raised both hands and slammed them on the blades, they broke when he made contact. Throwing Sasori back, Sasori opened his chest as he threw a scroll in the air. The air got dark as he summoned 100 puppets. Enough of this foolishness, said Sasori. I will end this now. You cannot defeat my 100 puppets. Naruto disappeared as he appeared right in the center of the army. Sasori had the puppets turn as they pulled their weapons. Naruto then smirked as he vanished once again. At least 10 puppets were turned into literal parts when he reappeared in front of Sasori. He then moved once again. What followed was nothing but a puppet massacre. Joints broke, bodies were splintered. Mere kicks and punches turned the puppet's body into wood and splinter all over the place. Sasori looked on in shock. He was about to pull out. Naruto gripped his face. Enough of this nonsense. He popped Sasori's head off his body before he slammed his hand into his chest He pulled out the reactor and crushed it in his hand. As the body dropped like it was nothing, Naruto turned towards Deidara, who started to become transparent. As he could feel the chakra gathering up, Deidara knew exactly what was his goal. Screw the Akatsuki, screw everything else. He was just gonna make a permanent art on this world, because his blast would wipe out everything here, and there was nothing that could stop him. As he was about to explode until he found himself in orbit. Deidara was confused. His body exploding outwards, not even affecting the elemental nation. The group up above was shocked. Naruto had literally grabbed Deidara and threw him up into orbit. Was something like that even possible? Up at the top, the Kages were watching the fight down below. The Jinjulkis were happy. The ones who were coming after him to kill them were being wiped away. Only he was a bit sad about Deidara's death. But this is the price that he paid for becoming an S-rank missing name. On the statue, Pain eyes narrowed. He wiped away Sasori and Deidara without breaking a sweat. He turned to Itachi. "Give me the report," he said. Itachi showing on a spin the entire match as he watched Naruto. His body is invulnerable to all weapon attacks, even explosions of Deidara power. He used a form of energy that is close, but is not chakra. He wastes no opportunity even when toying with his opponents. I also cannot find any flaws in Saiju's style, nor can I copy it, or any of his movements. His eyes also worry me, said Itachi, as he looked down towards Naruto. As Naruto stood there unfazed, Pain turned towards Hidan and Kakuzu. "You're up," he said. As the two of them leaped down below, Hidan already had his sight out. As Naruto looked towards his two new opponents, "Time to be sacrificed to Jashin Sama. You will be a worthy sacrifice," said Hidan. As Naruto's gaze narrowed, Jashin is a demon under Lord Mephisto. If he is a follower of Jashin, he must be immortal, unable to die by physical attacks. Well, most physical attacks, Naruto thought, as Hidan rushed towards him. Despite what Itachi just said, Hidan kept on swinging his light, as Naruto stepped back and dodged every single attack that was thrown towards him. Hidan kept on swinging and swinging, even using a cord to extend his reach. But Naruto evaded all the slashes like it was nothing. Hidan was really not worth fighting, he wasn't that special. As Naruto grabbed the sight, Hidan used all of his might to bring it down, but Naruto's finger just wouldn't budge. Naruto then snapped it in half. He then turned around and stabbed it right through Hidan. As he threw him up in the air, Naruto raised his palm as a cone of white energy appeared right in his hand. "Disappear," said Naruto. Hidan screamed, "Screw you!" as the thing made contact with his body. When the smoke cleared, there was nothing there. Kakuzu raised an eyebrow. "I'm impressed. If I knew Dust Release could kill him, I would have killed the third Hokage just to get rid of him," Kakuzu said. As Naruto merely smirked, "You have my condolences for being his teammate. I can see how much you have suffered," he said. "Now, shall we continue?" Kakuzu appeared in front of Naruto rather quickly, a fist already thrusting towards his skull. As Naruto ducked underneath it and brought his knee up when he came back up, but Kakuzu jumped back. As Naruto moved, Kakuzu shouted, "Earth Release, Earth Spear." He ducked on the Naruto blow before coming up with an uppercut. His skin became darker as his body enhanced with the Earth Release. But to its shock though, Naruto's chin did not move. His head did not go up despite the force that he put into his punch. He pulled his arm back and smashed it into Naruto's face. To his surprise, his arm cracked. He staggered back as Naruto slammed a fist into his throat. Kakuzu stepped back, gripping his throat, as he could barely breathe. Despite his Earth Spear technique being activated, even his arm broke. As Naruto looked at him calmly, "Your arm didn't broke because of the stone protecting it." Kakuzu coughed a bit before he tore off his cloak, revealing his body was stitched up. Black threads then came out of him. 4 masks came from his back as he mixed with the thread, forming 4 beasts. From the masses, Naruto presumed fire, lightning, wind, and water. That meant the earth was inside of him. Naruto moved. His hand appeared in front of the water mass. The lightning mass shot a beam of lightning, but Naruto tore the water mass to pieces. Kakuzu growled in anger. The moment Naruto landed, the lightning mass shot another beam, but Naruto raised 2 fingers and absorbed the lightning before he turned and brought the said lightning through his other 2 fingers. It split through the lightning mass as it fell down into a heap. Kakuzu released 100 threads as they all shot forth to wrap Naruto up. Naruto simply pulled his hand out of the threads, tearing them off like they were nothing. Kakuzu jumped back as he launched a combination of wind and fire. A massive inferno shot towards Naruto. Water rose from the river though, without Naruto even moving a hand, as it put the attack out like it was nothing. Naruto held out his hand as a blue light appeared. He then turned it towards Kakuzu and his masses. Thousands of blue needles shot out of the light, moving so fast as Kakuzu and his masses got impaled all over. Kakuzu collapsed to the ground, his masses destroyed. He was still breathing though. Naruto appeared above him. "Good fight," he said. "End your spear." As Kakuzu was annihilated on top of Madara's statue, Pain growled, thinking that Kakuzu and Hidan could discover a weakness, but they were still not the strongest members of the Akatsuki. As Kisame looked down there, "Let's see him bypass my sword like that." Konan looked towards Pain, seeing the growing rage, but she paid it no mind because she knew that he would win. Despite this going on, Pain would still win. He always won. Over to the other side, May whistled. He's in a roll. He could fight S-rank shinobis when he was a 10-year-old mortal. Now, they pose no threat to him, said Gaara. As Harrison looked down there, "Let's see if Itachi forced you to use higher techniques, Naruto-kun," he thought. Down in the valley, Itachi and Kisame. "You two will prove entertaining than the others," said Naruto. Kisame smirked. "I've been looking forward for a fight like this for a very long time," he said. "But I must warn you," as he moved. He appeared in front of Naruto with a quick burst of speed. Samehata doesn't slice. It shaves as he brought it down. Naruto called Samehata, shocking Kisame. Samehata then tried to take his chakra. It then started to cry. "What have you done?" Kisame said, as the sword was literally crying. Naruto reached up and broke Kisame's arm with a simple chop. Before he took Samehata away, forced Kisame to move back. "It's mine now," said Naruto, as he sealed it away. Kisame was shocked. "I'm impressed though. I wanted to cut your arm in half, not break it. Perhaps more strength is in order here." "You two are stronger than the others," said Naruto. Kisame threw a massive fist forward, as Naruto felt the amount of chakra he poured into it. Seems someone is angry, as Naruto dodged it, before he slammed a fist in his stomach. Kisame gasped and Naruto uppercut him, breaking some of his teeth. Naruto was about to slam his head clean off when several infused fire shuriken came towards his face, forced him to tilt back his head. As Kisame staggered back, he looked Itachi right in the eyes. Genjutsu would not affect him one bit, as he just looked in his eyes. Itachi frowned at that, as he spat out a massive fireball. Naruto's hand raised as he slapped it to the side, the water out in the fireball. Kisame got back to his feet, his eyes filled with nothing but rage, as Naruto felt the chakra that was coming off him. "Interesting. Your chakra reserves could match mine when I was 10 years old. Most impressive." Kisame launched 5 massive water sharks towards him, as Naruto punched them all to death. Kisame growled some more. "I'll kill you," he said. Itachi told him to calm down, but he would not listen. He wanted his blade back. An enormous water shark was formed. The thing was massive. "Throw your best attack at it, I can assure you. It will defeat it and then devour you alive," Kisame said. Naruto held out his hand as a black ball of flames appeared right in his palm, causing Itachi's gaze to narrow. The shark leaped towards Naruto, its mouth open wide. Naruto pulled his arm back before he threw the ball. "Fool," Kisame said. "It absorbed He was about to say chakra, but the shark turned into steam as the fireball literally ate it away. Passing through the shark, Kisame was right behind as he was hit. The black flames, before they even touched his skin, his cloak burned off. He screamed as they burned into his flesh, consuming him alive. Kisame collapsed down the water, consuming his body as a whole, allowing the fire to die out. He was bleeding rather badly, as he lay face down. He saw 2 feet as he glanced up. Naruto stood above him as Kisame looked at him defiant. Naruto stepped in his back before kicking his head clean off. Naruto turned as he batted away several shurikens that came from Itachi. Naruto then turned as both of them engaged in taijutsu. Despite Itachi's speed and reflexes, he just wasn't a match as Naruto caught his fist and twisted his wrist, breaking his arm, before slamming a fist in his stomach. Itachi jumped back with pain coursing through him. As he released flames out of his mouth with a one-handed seal, right in Naruto's face. Naruto came out unharmed but his shirt. He tore off the remains, leaving his torso out in the open. As Naruto jumped towards Itachi and pierced right through him, Itachi glowed for a second before he exploded. An exploding clone right in Naruto's face. He shrugged it off as he heard, "Amaterasu." Black flames rushed towards Naruto as Naruto disappeared. Itachi was shocked by that speed. "Rising Dragon," said Naruto. Itachi's eyes went wide as Naruto uppercut him. Blood spurted from his mouth. Itachi collapsed back down as he dropped to one knee. He focused on Naruto. "Tsukiyomi," he said. The world shattered before it could even form completely. As Naruto held out his hand, the air started to distort around his hand as a black, coursing amount of energy started to spin ominously. The water started to twist around his hand as the place started to tremble. "Try and block this," said Naruto as he threw the attack. The explosion even knocked Naruto away as he was so close. But to his surprise, Itachi survived as he stood on his feet. He was in an ethereal armor, a red massive armor that surrounded him. The Susanoo. He swung the blade at Naruto. Naruto dodged the blade as it passed over his head. The Tatsuka blade, he thought. A blade that can seal whatever it touches. Well, I'm confident in my strength. I don't want to risk being sealed inside it, only to find out I can't break the seal. As he jumped back, he looked at the mirror, the Yata mirror. It can stop any elemental attack. Well then, let's see stop this, said Naruto as he pulled out his Arashi blade. He then rushed towards Itachi. Itachi stood there with his shield, confident that he would hold up. He gasped in surprise when the mirror shattered into 100 pieces, the chakra breaking away. Itachi then brought down his blade, but to his shock it was blocked by an arm, a black skeleton arm, as a black rib cage surrounded Naruto. Soon a massive structure started to rise above Naruto and rose and rose and rose. It towered over Itachi by at least a dozen feet. It had 6 arms, 2 of them holding a blade, 2 of them holding a bow, the other 2 having arm guards with spikes on them. The Tomo and Naruto Rinnegan started to spin. "Let me show you a real Susanoo power," he said. Naruto rained down so much attacks. Itachi found himself unable to keep up. He coughed up blood as he was knocked back down, as he panted in exhaustion, as Naruto stomped on the thing, breaking it. Itachi collapsed. Naruto jumped out of Susanoo as he dissipated. He landed right into the skeleton structure that Itachi had formed around him, and kicked him in the face, launching him out of his own Susanoo. Naruto walked over and placed a feet on Itachi's chest, who could barely move. That was a good warm-up, said Naruto, but it was still not enough. A black sword appeared in his hand as he drive it through Itachi's chest. Itachi's body fell straight down to the river, dead. As Naruto felt the rage, he glanced up towards Pain as his eyes locked with him. Everyone was looking up in awe, as they saw how Naruto dealt with them that easily. But then they felt it. The power of the Rinnegan as Pain looked down towards Naruto. Power oozing from him. This boy just ruined his plans. The more he watched, the more he thought that he would fall, but yet, he just killed all of his members. And Zetsu wouldn't fight him. He would lose instantly. He jumped down followed by his other 5 paths. He will end this, he had enough. He will wipe away those Kages up there. He was glad that all of them were here. And he will take the Bijus, and no one will stop him. Interesting, said Naruto. You're using the 6-path technique. 1 path for each body. If I presume correct, the one that you're using as a leader is a Deva path. I will show you the meaning of pain. As Naruto chuckled, if I had waited for you to show me pain, I would have died at the hands of the villagers all those years ago. No, let me tell you what you will show me. You will show me as a light to leave your eyes, said Naruto, as Pain clenched his fists. The azure path rushed forward, Rocket boosters on his feet propel him quickly. He aimed a punch at Naruto only for his arm to bang in contact. Naruto pierced right through him with his fists. An idea then came to him. A blade came from the path's back as Naruto dodged it. He then headbutted the path as cracks appeared on the forehead. He then threw the path in the air. His arm turned into a cannon as he launched dozens of rockets. The path was blown up by the rockets. How about this, said Naruto. I will only use taijutsu and the Rinnegan just to show you the skill level that we have over the master for dojutsu. Pain growled angrily. The animal path slammed his hand down. A massive dog rushed towards Naruto. Well, let me show you our summoning difference. As Naruto slammed his hand down, from the smoke a massive lion emerged, his eyes showing off the Rinnegan. The lion rushed towards the dog. As the lion ripped it apart. The dog kept on multiplying but he could not hurt the lion. The lion pinned it down and started to rip it. The lion then turned its head towards the animal path and went after it. It jumped away only for Naruto to reappear behind it and slammed a fist in it back. It tried to turn, but Naruto was just too fast even if their eyes were watching him. The lion then brought its paw down and crushed it before it reached down and swallowed the animal path, crushing it in its teeth before swallowing it down. Naruto then dispelled it as he got pleasure from seeing Pain get so angry. The human path then came next as they both of them enter a taijutsu match. Even though they have shared vision, Naruto was just too stronger and they couldn't really do anything about it. And his speed was on a complete different level. He snapped its arms and his legs before launching it into the sky. Meanwhile, in a remote location, a few meters away from the battle, in the trees, stood Nagato. He was in his mechanical walker, the machine to control the paths of Pain. He took breaths in and out, as he was watching everything from where he was, looking through the eyes of his paths. Next to him sat Kona and she had left the statue instantly. When it was time for Nagato to fight, so she came here to guard him. Damn it, he has mastered the Rinnegan. He knew exactly what to expect, and his speed and power. Kona looked towards Nagato. Will you use that, she asked. He frowned. Only if the Deva path is in danger, he said. Back at the Valley of the End, Naruto dusted off his pants. Only Deva, Prida, and the Naruto path was left. Absorption, Revive, and Repel. So, what will you do? Deva is the only path that can attack me. The Prida path released 5 fireballs towards him. As Naruto chuckled, back to the basics, huh? The Rinnegan ability to control all 5 elements. All paths possess it. Good, said Naruto as he absorbed the technique. Do you know something else the Prida path can do? A barrier appeared in front of the Prida path. It can send the ninjutsus back, said Naruto. The barrier released the 5 fireballs that just followed, and slammed into the Prida path with great force. The Naruto path went to revive him, but Naruto kicked his head clean off. Tendo raised a hand as Naruto was in mid-air. Almighty push! As Naruto raised his hand, despite not saying anything, he did not move. He stood there in the blast of the attack like it was nothing, before he landed. Let me try. Almighty push, he said. The Deva path was thrown. Come back, said Naruto. Universal pull. As Naruto then gripped him by the throat and started to squeeze. He then turned as he twisted his body and threw the path straight up in the sky. Farewell, he said, as he held out his arms. But then a beam, 5 beam to be exact, slammed into Deva path, destroying it. As Naruto paused, it was then that bodies appeared. 5 beams fell from the heavens as they landed. He tilted his head towards their appearance. They all looked pretty much the same. They appeared to be like an ONI, with horns, fangs, and long claws. However, they have differences. The one in the middle had purple skin, with purple black hair. He had a purple robe covering his legs, with his chest bare. The one to his right had green skin, his hair looking like snakes. He was wearing a green robe, similar to the first one. The one to his other left had blue skin and dark blue wavy hair. His robe was an azure color. To the right corner, one of them stood red skin, his hair looking like orange flames. He was wearing a golden robe. The other one was wearing a silver robe, his skin brown, his hair looking like sand. They each have a symbol of an element to their chests. As Naruto remembered what Shin said about the elements coming, Naruto folded his arms. I didn't expect the elements to arrive. Welcome. Raijin, Fujin, Sujin, Kaijin, and Kojin. Up on top of the first guy's statue, the group was silent. Garo turned to the other Kagis. Are those who I think they are, he asked. Kenjin nodded. The elementals. The gods of the 5 main elements. I think this battle is about turning to a real one, Hirzan said. And I think that today is the day that we see the real meaning of Naruto no power, Hirzan said. Back in the valley, Naruto looked at the gods in front of him, as he did a mock bow. How wonderful for the great elemental gods to pay a visit to a god of my stature. Have you come to declare your loyalty to me, he asked. Kaijin and Chojin were about to attack, but they were stopped by Sojin and Fujin. As Raijin shook his head, no, Shinju, we are here to kill you. Your rise has angered the holy deities. They expected your death to be permanent. Now with you conquering the human world, they demand your head. Naruto chuckled, before he threw his head back and laughed. As Fujin spoke, what is so funny? All of you, said Naruto. Have the holy deities gone so senile? After the years of my absence, sending the 5 of you against me. Senjin smiled. You only have your energy back, along with your body. You don't have full control of your powers, or full knowledge of them. And don't forget, we know a considerable amount of your energy is locked away in hell, which, by the way, you will never reach because you will die here. Naruto pulled Raijin's blade, as he tossed it to Raijin, who caught it. As the other gods pulled out their blades for their weapons, for their elements. It's only right that you have your blade, Raijin, said Naruto, as he pulled out the Arashi blade. So when I kill you all, I can take them all back, rightfully. The gods released their powers, the elements picked up all around them. Wind, water, electricity, everything. As Naruto stood there unfazed by their power, it was then that he took a breath. He then released his power as the place quaked in anger. The place itself seemed to be afraid as his power spread. He then spread his legs as he shifted his stance and motioned for them to come. Kaijin and Chojin rushed forward. Chojin had a massive Zanbedo that was made from stone, the element of earth. Kaijin had a blade that was on white flames. They swing their blades as Naruto blocked it. A Kinjutsu match as the elements started to rip apart the area as their blades made contact with the Arashi blade. The other gods decided to join in, seeing that he was not going down, as they tried to overpower him, bringing down their might on him. As Naruto ducked underwater blade before clashing with the wind blade, he jumped over lightning and water one, parrying the earth one to the side. The Tomo in his eyes were spinning as he predicted their move, forming patterns as he moved and sliced. He tore right through the guard of Chojin as he plunged his blade deep in his chest. Chojin roared as Naruto pushed his blade down deep. Cracks appeared all over his body as brown light spread out of him. Naruto jumped back as his body cracked and exploded, earth flying all around. The other gods roared in anger for the death of their brother. As they launched themselves towards Naruto, they each sent a different attack towards him. Kaijin threw a stream of white fire, combined with Fujin wind. Sujin unleashed a water torrent from his mouth, combined with the electricity from Raijin. Naruto fly high in the air as the spot that he was at exploded in a massive surge of energy. The gods shot up into the sky as the Raijin and Fujin shot wind and lightning towards him. As Naruto kept on dodging them, the 2 gods then vanished away. A fireball that was just humongous shot towards Naruto. Naruto fired a beam of lightning that split it. It damaged Fujin as he moved out of the way, but Kaijin got hit head on as he was damaged badly. Sujin shot several water balls that whipped through the air towards Naruto. Raijin flashed behind Naruto and grabbed his arms, trying to hold him out. The water ball slammed into Naruto as he growled a bit. He twisted and threw Raijin off him before he slammed a fist into his face. Raijin staggered back as Naruto drove his fist into his gut. Raijin keeled over in mid-air as Naruto gripped his throat and stabbed his blade directly into his chest. Raijin roared as lightning coursed out of his body. Naruto threw him straight down. His body exploded in a shower of lightning. But the explosion was far more than Naruto expected. Raijin, being one of the stronger element gods, it hit Naruto with a ridiculous amount of force as he started to plunder from the air. It was then that Fujin rushed towards him with so much power in his hand. "This is the end," he shouted. "Hurricane fist!" He slammed his fist into Naruto's chest. Hundreds of hurricanes. The sound of hundreds could be heard. Once he was finished, he looked down. "It's so..." As he gasped, a sword plunging through his back and coming out of his chest. As Naruto brought the blade up, severing him in two. A blast of wind slammed into him as he was thrown away. As he refixed himself in mid-air, his body had no injuries. As he cracked his neck, "The last two hurt," he said. Despite being unscathed, it still hurt. Sujin roared as he raised his hand to the heavens. An ungodly amount of water rose. "Enough," said Naruto. "I've had enough toying with you." As he held Arashi, he rushed at Sujin as quickly as possible. "Kizurishi," said Naruto. He vanished. Sujin cried out in pain. When he looked down, there was 9 gaping holes through him as Naruto appeared behind him. Sujin's body exploded into water. As Naruto disappeared and reappeared a few feet away from Kaijin. "Just you and me," said Naruto with a smirk, as Kaijin raised his arms into the air. A massive ball of flame formed. It was so large, it covered the entire place. The Kage started to sweat along with the Jinchurikis. He compressed it and compressed it and compressed it until it was the size of a baseball. Solar beam! The thing erupted and released flames towards Naruto in a wide scale. The entire sky was painted with the color. Kaijin panted, thinking that it was over. But Naruto came out of the smoke unharmed, but he was completely naked. "Oh great," said Naruto. "Never thought I would kill a god naked." As Naruto moved, slice! Kaijin had no time to react. His stomach exploded out with flames as he screamed. His body exploding, the elements flying everywhere. Naruto then raised his hand. His hand started glowing chakra as he placed on his chest. The chakra form laid clothing around him. As he made his way down towards the earth, he was about to greet the others until Mei leaped on him, tackling him down towards the ground. "That was amazing," she said, as she bat her eyes in a rather seductive way. "Naruto-kun, may I have this Samihata please?" she said, with a pretty please. He held out his hand. There was a poof. As the scroll appears, he gave it to her. She squealed as Utsukata grabbed her and picked her up. As Naruto got to his feet, Hiruzen looked at him. "You're just full of surprises. Defeating 5 gods related to no effort." "I warned him that he wouldn't stand a chance," said Naruto. "Let's go. It's time we return to Konoha," he said. Meanwhile, Nagato couldn't believe it. Not owned by Pats, but even those spirits lost to him. The paper tree was suddenly ripped open. As Naruto stepped inside, Konan was about to attack, but Nagato stopped her. "Why are you here?" he said. "You know why. I'm here to put a stop to your plans. I knew this was coming." "So be it," said Nagato. "It seems I failed. But in my failure, you can take that spot." "It seems that way," said Naruto. "Because the elemental nations, all of it, is now mine." He thrust his hand out as a kunai pierced right through Nagato's chest. "You would never follow my ideals," said Naruto, "and I bow to no one." He then turned to Konan. "I see no reason to kill you," he said. "What will you do?" "I want to kill you," she said. She then released her clenched fists. "But I cannot. And seeing that Nagato entrusts his dream into you, all I can do is make sure the Hidden Rain is safe. Protect your people and your home. It is all that is left," said Naruto. Be a leader that he could not be. He then poofed away, revealing that he was a clone. As she was left with the dead Nagato, she cried. Time skip. The whole entire Konoha could feel his power. When he said coming back to Konoha, he didn't mean this. As Naruto stood there, looking at the woman in front of him, 2 women and a pig. "So let me get this straight. You, my godmother, my blood relative from being Mito Uzumaki's granddaughter, left me here to starve, to be beaten, to almost die, because you didn't want any family because you fear that they would die." All Tsunade could do was nod. She had to duck as Naruto kicked the Hokage table. It smashed in the wall. Anvus rushed inside. "It's okay," said Naruto. "You can go." As they left, he took several more deep breaths, seeming to calm himself. "From now on, you will be the head of the hospital with Shizune. as your assistant. You are to make sure the medics are capable and everything runs smoothly. If you refuse, I'll give the position to Shizune and have you rot in a prison cell. I'll do it, she said. Excellent, said Naruto. Well then get to work. She and Shizune left in fear. He then turned towards Jiraiya. I have another assignment for you. Once I go to Makai, the 9 Jinchurikis will rule in my place until I return. I will give them a long set of orders that needs to be carried out. Your first assignment, that will not start until I leave, is to support Han in conquering Land of Sky. The rest will come in details to see when they arrive. Understood? Jiraiya nodded as he sunched away when Naruto dismissed him. He figured that the celebration was in order. He was having a stressful day. He summoned Haku. Send word to all the Kages and Daimyos to get here by nightfall. We're having a celebration, he said. The Akatsuki was defeated, the threat was finished, and the Elemental Nation was finally at peace. Well, for now. Time skip. The Ichioku Ramen was the only restaurant that treated Naruto like a human being, so Naruto helped them economically. Over time, the stand became the best within Konoha. It had 5 floors, the top being reserved for Naruto and village leaders. Currently, that is where Naruto's at. The daimyos and all of his good friends. They all wore formal clothing. Orihime was there as well. He also brought the 2 owners as well, Toki and Ayam, to have a drink with him. All of the Kages were here. The daimyos, all of them were here, as they were talking and just having a good time. As Naruto raised his glass, to the United Elemental Nation, they all raised their glass and cheered. Time skip. Naruto sat on top of his castle. As he looked at the moon, he was thinking of his life, of all he did, of all he accomplished. He also thought about all that was about to occur as well. In a few months, a war for the crown will finally commence. Meanwhile, up in heaven, in the white room, the throne, a woman sat, rather calmly. Suddenly, the door opened as the angel stepped in. My queen, Shinju, was attacked by the elemental gods, and he destroyed them all. The woman laughed. Is that so? He seemed to be reaching his predecessor's power quickly. 2 red eyes appeared. As the woman laughed, I can't wait to meet you, Shinju Naruto, she said. Time skip. 1 year later, the first year where the elemental nations were finally at peace. Their ruler, Naruto, the god of chaos, had rejuvenated the hierarchy with young leaders who ensured to keep the peace. Through there was some few skirmishes. People that thought Naruto didn't have any right to rule them. He wiped them all away. He was worshipped by the people for his god status. On top, he was the elemental ruler, the emperor of the world. Even the samurais bowed before his power. The shinobis now had a special headband, showing them as the soldiers of the emperor. The middle part had a symbol of the emperor, a Reni Sharingan, and on the left part it displayed their rank. It had a triangle for genin, a square for chonin, and a circle for jonins. Trade was widespread in economy. It was booming. All in all, peace had finally arrived. Peace that so many have dreamed for. Naruto had sealed the entire castle Teiso and moved it away from Konoha, a few kilometers south, which it was now, like a massive castle. He had even expanded the area. It was like a militarized base where he lived. At the moment, several people were gathered. The daimyos, the kages, the wolf corps, 10 envoys of each village, the clan heads. As Naruto stood in front of the group, he had changed attire as he prepared for a tough trip. Black combat boots and black pants, as they seemed to be glistening a bit. They were not normal pants. He was wearing a prototype chakra armor with black lines of chakra going through it that fit perfectly for his chakra system. This was a prototype that was made specifically for him. From a land of spring, there was 9 orbs around him, the 9 Bijus. His stubby wives were in front of him, as he gave each of them a kiss. He turned and shook Zabuza's hand. Him and Zabuza has grown to be good friends. The man was now a S-rank ninja, and one of his generals, the Wolf Corps, with Haku being an S-rank as well. Their main goal was to protect his family, as he said his goodbye to each and every Kage. As he arrived at Hirston and patted the man on the shoulder, as the man smiled, he smiled back. As Naruto stood at the gate, he heard Kurama's voice in the orb. Scared? Hell no, said Naruto, as his Reni Sharingan pulsed. just excited, as he leaped inside, making his way. Soon, the battle for the crown will begin, but before that he needs his full power. Soon the world will feel the power of Naruto, the Shinju, God of all, Alpha of the Big Juice. But guys, yep, this is where it comes to an end. I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this. It's been amazing, guys. Even though a bit short, it's been really amazing. So I just want to say thank you all for sitting back and relaxing and enjoy. If you find this enjoyable, thank you all, guys. And also go ahead and check out the brand new series over on Anime King 3 and Anime King, which I hope you enjoy as well. But for now, I'm out of here. See you guys soon. Peace.